Alrighty, here we are again at Hoffman's Haven, and as I promised a few days ago, this is the compost tumbler that we've purchased, the one I took pictures of out there. It's fully assembled, and then we have a second one here, which I'm going to assemble here, and we're going to videotape certain parts. This is what you get in the box. This is what you get from the store. That's how it comes in the box. So what you get is a couple of these turtle shell halves things. So those are going to be the sides. And then put this camera back down, and these here are the round ends and the hatch. Pull those out. And we got a couple of bags of hardware, which are hinges and latches, screws. A whole plethora of instructions. Don't need those. And these are the little A-frames that it stands on.
Some people need the instructions.
What's that?
Some people need the instructions.
Some people need instructions. We just assembled one about 10 days ago, so we shouldn't need them.
If you haven't, well.
Something to note about these are painted, or it looks like there appears to be powder coated. These will rust if you scratch them. They will rust. Interestingly enough, these are the bottoms that it stands on. These are galvanized, so you don't have to worry about these rusting. As you saw in my photographs, we have these sitting on bricks, so they're not sitting out on the wet ground. These are some metal brackets. Cut this open for everybody to see. These go on the sides of the unit for it to swivel in. Interesting stuff how they built that. And this is an air tube. This will go on the inside of the unit and allow air to come in from the sides and into the center of your compost pile. And if you see that, they give you a nice little DVD on how to use it. Interesting. And then that's all you get in the box. We're going to go ahead and start putting this thing together and show you. It's not hard. If you go out to the internet and read the reviews, everybody says it's really hard to put together. It isn't. Don't believe that stuff. It's just, it takes a long time because there's 28 little tiny screws that you have to assemble the unit with. And it takes a long time. You have to pre-drill these little holes and put the screws in, then you have to put nuts on the back of them. It takes a long time. Not hard, just long and tedious. Make sure you got about 3 hours before you put this thing together. Okay, what I did here is I laid out all the stuff. And you're going to get, these are the pivot bolts that the drum rides on. Got some little self-tapping screws, which we're going to use first. I did grab the instructions so we can reference that. Here's the little screws I was telling you about. I think there's 28 of these, and you have to take that drill bit and drill little teeny holes all the way around. There's 4 on each side of these turtle shells all the way around, and it takes a long time to do that. Not hard, just takes a long time. And these little screws that goes on there. Over here we have our hardware: latches, hinges, locking pin, and these are straps that reinforce the back where on part of it there's not a hinge or a latch, so these reinforce that. And these are the catches for the latches. Anyway, lifetime puts nowhere in their instruction book here. They don't say anything about it. So if you're going to buy one of these, coat these things with some kind of oil. I recommend cooking oil or petroleum jelly, because this stuff's going to rust. It's going to rust right away. It's not stainless. It's not coated or anything. So just so you know. The first step in here is to put the legs together. So we're going to go put the legs together for you. We have a DeWalt cordless drill and our 4 self-tapping screws. Basically the screws don't do anything but hold these things together. And there is a hole on this side. You can see that. There's a hole on these where the screw goes in. These have no hole, so taps a screw in there. And what we're going to do is get these parts have to be facing to the outside. Best way to drill your screws in is to turn it on its side. Do these two, flip it over, and do the other two. And snug them up, folks. If you run that drill all the way down in there, you'll strip it. It's pretty easy. And these metal plates, they're mild steel, whatever they are, they're going to fit on the inside of here, and that's what your tumbler's going to turn on. Pretty simple stuff. Get it stuck on my finger. In the instructions it says to put this warning sticker right next to the lifetime name on there. It'll go in there either way, but thought we needed a little comedy relief. And here you got 6 bolts with nuts. You're going to fasten these on here. The bolt goes on the outside. It does have these are square and these are square, so you don't have to worry about holding back up on that.
Carriage bolts.
Carriage bolts. Wish you drop it like me. Washer goes to the inside, and hold tension on the plastic. Before I tighten all these up, I'm going to put them all in. Makes it much easier. Let's turn this around. Show you what I'm doing. Tightening the bolts inside of here. Deep well socket. Highly recommend the deep well on this. Making them snug. I'm not tightening the crap out of them. As you notice here, it's all ribbed. This is for strength. This just injection molded plastic. It's double walled, and these ribs here for strength. It's really strong stuff. You got to put the little spring. Just fits right over that. Stick it in there, in the top hole. Then it's going to push through this part, and those parts just go together like that. And that's going to allow you to Move your locking pin out of the way in that little groove there. Once we get the bolt in it. You can tell the bolts are carriage bolts. They got the little, they're polarized. They're only going to go in there one way. I'm just going to use a wrench on this. There again, you don't want to be Superman on any of this stuff. Just snug it up. That's all she needs, and then you got your locking pin there. This is going to keep the unit from rotating when you don't want it to rotate. Then the other side, there's no locking pin or anything. You just have, looks the same as the other side, but actually that locking pin you can go on either side with it. We're just going on the opposite side of ours because we have two of them, and we're going to put one pin on one side and one pin on the other. And they got a really good picture of it for you. You got two different size washers. You got a bushing that it rides on a bushing. There's not a bearing in here. Probably wouldn't be that difficult to modify it for a bearing, but there's a bushing in the middle of those washers, and then there's a little rubber part, and then another washer, and then a nut. But the instructions, they're not confusing. If you get a little confused, the directions are really easy to follow putting this part up together. We're using a little petroleum jelly on this thing. Okay, so we are going to take this bolt with the two washers
and the bushing,
which I thought was on there, but it isn't. Just like that. Shove it through the unit with the plastic part there into this hole. The other small washer, which is our nylon locking nut. Keeps her good and tight. And this should be snug. I mean, I didn't go Superman on it. Just snug her up. Normally your composter's sitting in this position with this tube in there and allows air to get into the center of your compost. What we're going to do is we're going to turn this up where it's diagonal like that, and then even those up, and that is in there. When we put the unit together, it's held in there. It's not coming out. So what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this around, and we do have the locker, so we can work on that. You see these little dimples. You have to drill, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. You have to drill holes in there. And those holes have to go at just the right angle because there's little nuts that go on the other end of the screws in there that hold the thing together. We have a second drill, which is going to be which is the drill we're going to use to drill the holes, and then the cordless drill is going to have the screwdriver bit on it that we'll use to put the screws in. If you have two drills, go for it. It makes it a lot faster.